Will Hyperia get a backwards seat? Ever since Hyperia was announced, lots of people were speculating whether Hyperia would get a backwards or maybe even a spinning seat. So much so that they even asked Mac at an interview, which Mac did confirm that a backwards seat would be possible and that they might look into a spinning seat. And ever since then, enthusiasts have been begging Thorpe Park for a backwards seat. But it sort of got swept under the rug and forgotten about until Christmas Eve, where the park released a POV of the coaster backwards. This got enthusiasts very excited and got everyone thinking we could get a backwards seat. But today I'm going to dive into whether we will or will not get one, and my take on the whole situation. Before I get on to why Hyperia might or might not get a backwards seat, please consider subscribing and liking, it'd be greatly appreciated. But moving on, there are a few pros and cons of why we might not get a backwards seat, and there's a few things about the spinning seat, but I'll get to that at the end. The first reason that we might not get a backwards seat is insurance. Unfortunately, in 2015 there was quite a severe accident with the Smiler, which lots of people like to bring up and like to say that insurance would be high because if Hyperia was to crash, backwards seats would mean that a lot more damage was done. But you have to look at the ride models. These are completely different manufacturers, completely different ride types, on completely different scales at completely different parks. So I believe that Smiler has got nothing to do with this. And I also think insurance can't be that high if coasters like DC Rivals have a backwards seat. You've also got Blackpool, which is another Mac rides, has a spinning seat. So I just think the whole insurance thing is just irrelevant. I don't think insurance has anything to do with it. Maybe insurance would be higher, but I don't think it would be that much to put Merlin off doing it. Another point is that Mac would have to manufacture a separate car with a backwards seat on, and they'd have to send it to Thorpe and they'd have to install it, test it, and get it ready for the public. This would not be easy as they would have to design the whole back of the train, and it would cost Thorpe Park a lot of money to buy this backwards seat. But it's not just buying the seat, they would also have to set up the whole queue line, which if you've seen Hyperia's queue line, there's not really a lot of room for another queue for a backwards seat. What I think they would do is run up the exit, but I still think it would be hard to control, and I think it would slow down capacity a lot. With backwards seats normally reducing capacity by half on the back car, it would also impact queue times by quite a bit, and it would also be an upcharge, which means that basically the 4 back seats on either 1 or 2 of the trains would not be in use for the main queue. This would make the queue a lot longer, which is ultimately not what Thorpe Park need, especially for their most popular rides, which doesn't have a great throughput already. So from the potential insurance issues, to getting a seat from Mac, to setting up the queue line, and the capacity issues, those are my negatives of why Thorpe Park might not go for a backwards seat. But moving on to the positives, we have Merlin will make a lot of money from this thing, and Merlin love money. Just think about it, they would charge a lot of money for one rider on this experience. They could probably charge up to £15 if they wanted to. I think they would charge £10 to £15 for one go on this thing, and I think they would get the money. I think a lot of people would want to experience this thing backwards, and I think a lot of people would travel all around the world, and honestly, Hyperia backwards has potential to be one of the best coasters in Europe, if not the world. This would increase park attendance a lot, and if they marketed it properly, a lot of GPs would really want to ride this thing backwards. This would also improve the overall park's attendance, with it keeping up, especially as it might start to fall now Hyperia is not brand new anymore. And more people would travel from around the world again to ride this thing backwards. I seriously do think it has potential to be the best in the world. I also don't think this thing would be hard to market. They've done this before with the Swarm. The Swarm was not a great success, so they said brave it backwards, which they flipped 8 of the seats on the back of the train to try and improve attendance, and I think it did work. They didn't even charge for that. If they charged for this, they could make tons of money. And my final point for the positives, which is probably the strongest one, is that Mac said they can do it. In an interview, somebody asked, could you do a backwards seat on Hyperia? And Mac said most definitely, which just proves that it is possible. Mac can install a backwards seat on Hyperia. It's just if Thorpe Park wants to pay the money and wants to take the risk with it. But in that interview, Mac also claimed that a spinning seat may be possible. So it's obviously not a definitive yes, but it's a high possibility that a spinning seat could be possible on Hyperia, which would be absolutely out of this world. But I don't think they will do this. I don't think Thorpe Park will install a spinning seat. I think a backward seat is already a far stretch, and I think a spinning seat would not go down well. I think a lot of enthusiasts would be very excited. I think people would travel to ride this thing spinning. But from the pure intensity and speed of this thing, spinning could be out of control and frankly too much. Thorpe Park are trying to get the general public back to Thorpe Park, trying to improve attendance and trying to gain money from the general public. And a spinning seat could be too much for them. If they've already ridden Hyperia or haven't ridden it yet, the feeling of spinning around could just put them off, and they wouldn't even want to pay for it. Which is the main reason why I don't think Thorpe Park would go with a spinning seat, especially on Hyperia. The layout wasn't made for a spinning seat, and I just don't think it would fit the coaster overall. But that's my thoughts and opinions on the backwards seat. Will it happen, will it not? I think it's definitely a high possibility, and I think if Thorpe Park really wanted it, they could easily install it, and I think they can make lots of money off it. But I don't think Thorpe Park will go with the spinning seat, which I get, but I think it would honestly be a stupid move if Thorpe Park wasn't to go with the backwards seat, after seeing the massive hype around it. But only time will tell. We'll see if Thorpe Park install a backward seat on Hyperia or not. But let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if there's any more points which I missed out, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, and if you would ride Hyperia spinning or backwards. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.